Let's start with like the first part of the dashboard, which is the supply chain level. Now, supply chain level is observed with respect to one warehouse. So if you're present in warehouse one, you'll see supply chain level with respect to warehouse one, like in my case. If you have to see how is warehouse three performing, you need to go to warehouse three to see that. Now, the first card in the warehouse, in the supply chain level, is about the capacities of the retailers and warehouses. It's basically a dial-based visualization on in which, when you hover on it, it actually gives you the address of the warehouses and also the address of the retailers. It also so basically these are the retailers which are of importance to the stakeholder. You can actually go to view all and see all the retailers and all the warehouses and actually check or uncheck the retailers or the warehouses he needs. This is basically done for performance purposes. Like if a stakeholder is not interested in data for retailers too, he does not need to see it on the home on the home screen all the time. So he can go to view all and actually disable it. This also helps me or helps the developers improve the performance of the application because you only fetch data which is actually needed by you, not everything at once. Apart from the capacities, which are actually also denoted by red, green, and yellow, dependent on how full or empty it is, we have trucks. Now, these trucks connect these warehouses to different retailers. These also connect different retailers to different retailers, like truck 3, which is going from retailer 3 to retailer 2. Uh, on the face value, you see how much journey the on how much truck journey is completed, and it is when it is last updated. You can actually refresh these trucks, and it'll update the time based on which these journeys are updated. It'll update the timestamp. So if you want to see more on truck 2, let's click on the view more on truck 2. So now in truck 2, you'll see the ID associated with the truck. Now this is the ID which is shared between different warehouses and retailers, and that's what I'm talking about when I say linked data. It tells you where it's going to, and the ID of the retailer and the ID of the warehouse where it's coming from. It again tells you about the journey status because I don't the user to be opening and closing the modal to see the same piece of information. So here you can see how much journey it has completed. Now, with respect to trucks, there's a variable which we worked on called the sustainability index. Now, the sustainability index is basically a percentage value about how much the truck is performing based on its footprint to the environment. This is affected by, say, if a truck is diverged from its shortest possible path, it is not performing. It's gonna cause footprint in terms of how much carbon emissions it's making or how much fuel it's consuming and things like that. So for this journey, it's like 50%, 51% on the sustainability questions. We didn't come up with metrics about if this is a high number or it's a low number. There needs to be more research done for that. But right now, this is how it is. And the total active hours is basically how much the truck is moving between the different warehouses and different retailers. And right now it's 5 hours and 30 minutes. It's basically a numerical representation of this thing. And this number is basically represents like with respect to the overall average. So if a truck generally does say 6 hours of traveling and today it's doing like 5 hours and 30 minutes, so it's doing actually less compared to the average. But if it's doing like say 5 hours and 28 minutes, it might be doing 2% more with compared to the overall average. Apart from this, you have like things like a profitability risk curve, which is basically a metric to see what's the chance that the objects present in a particular warehouse or a retailer is going to generate profits, and what's the risk of it being not there. And this is updated on a daily, weekly, monthly, or like an overall level. So that's how this works. So let's check out like how it's updated on a monthly level. You can actually type in the year and you'll get the data for the month corresponding to that year. That's something which came to me by feedback by my prof. Yeah, so for this data you can actually hover over it and you can see which what's the risk performance and what's the performance indicators. Apart from that, you have stakeholders in the supply chain level. Here, Arnav is like a truck driver, and he's responsible. Uh, to say connect uh, warehouse 1 to retailer 3. And these truck drivers or these stakeholders of these level can actually add more notes for each other. Like the truck one is carrying an object he was looking for. Like it might be a note for a retailer, or warehouse one is absolutely full with one kind of objects. We need to distribute this better. This could be by the warehouse manager. So there are like multiple stakeholders which could be here. You can actually view all the notes and enable or disable all the notes which are available to you as well, which are more necessary. So this is the one which is not highlighted. So I'm just gonna just put this out there. So this is the supply chain level.